And now, a brief review of this channel's posting history. Theory. 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 What?
2 years later.
So I bet you're wondering where I've been. Well, I've been working, graduating, cringing, and living life out in the old real world. It's been busy. And at first that was part of the reason I stopped uploading. But, to be honest, it was not the whole reason, not by a long shot. You see, that graduation was from college, and I got a bachelor's in film. So basically, I'm now certified to pretend like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to visual storytelling. This channel used to be all about MLP-type, and I loved that show. I will maintain it to my grave that it had incredible potential. Had potential. Sure, the fan base can be discomforting, but what fan base isn't? Ours might be sometimes a little more than usual, but that doesn't mean that the content itself is bad. And it might have been created on the foundation of old merchandise and television aimed at toddlers and 10-year-olds. But darn it, that is not enough reason to assume there's not value here. It started as a true representation of medieval fantasy. Castles, knights, magic, monsters, evil kings, gods, mythical creatures. What other modern-day cartoon has all that? A little cheesy, but even Star Wars has cheesy parts. And above all, it has good characters. A good story will write itself if only you have strong characters in the middle of it all. And the show had them. Society is screaming for more female representation in media. Well, bam! Nearly every protagonist is a unique, deep female character. And it's not even a focus of the show, it just is, which is great. The more subtly you incorporate progressive ideas, the more easily it will be for society to accept such ideas. So, what's the problem? Why do I say it had great potential? Because you missed your opportunity, Hasbro. You missed your window. You missed the gosh dang window. We opened the window wider, and you just blew it off, like there wasn't even a window there at all. Like I said, a good story will write itself if you have strong characters. And these characters were great. They had deep, ingrained issues, they learned from their struggles. It looked like they were really going to change. The main characters freaking changed species 3 seasons in. If that isn't a visual representation of character development, then I don't know what is. But you know what? A story sucks if its characters are static. And as unique and in-depth as these characters were, they are static as crap. MLP Film pretends to have dynamic characters, but no one will ever learn anything. Oh sure, they'll sprout a pair of wings, get a tattoo, have a baby. They'll blurt out the lesson at the end of every episode in the most on-the-nose manner they can muster. But will they remember that lesson? Will they actually grow from it? Heck no, they won't! Twilight's biggest flaw is her own anxiety and fear of failure. She's learned over and over and over and over again, not only is this a problem, but also how to deal with it. Still, every single time the writers ever want some kind of conflict, throw the old anxiety curveball at us. Now, I'm not saying anxiety is an easy issue to deal with, or that this is a problem that just fixes itself, but when will you learn anything? The only, and I mean only lesson any of them have learned semi-permanently is that friendship is important, and that it is good. I mean, the show sort of had lessons that the characters learned, but it was slow. So slow that it might as well have been unnoticeable. And by season 5, Hasbro gave up. They did not even vaguely attempt to make it look like their main characters were learning anything. You know who learned anything? The side characters, the antagonists. Which is all fine and dandy, except for the fact that it means our important characters became utterly static. The writers don't seem to know how to develop more than one character at a time, so they don't. And the ones they choose are unimportant to the story they're telling. There's no focus, there's no goal, there's no theme.
But friendship is a theme.
Shut up. Shows like Gravity Falls are good because their characters actually grow. As they grow, they develop and discover new internal conflict that they need to deal with. They don't deal with the same things over and over again. Shows like Gravity Falls tease the idea of a darker world with more gritty problems hiding under the surface. And then those problems were brought to light in all of their dirt and rags. Those problems were tackled in an applicable manner and treated with the respect they deserve, whereas here, those same problems are teased but never realized. And right when you think they're being addressed, they're solved via friendship deus ex machina. Don't tell me it's just a kid's show. Twice I already referenced a Disney cartoon that perfectly dealt with these kinds of issues. A younger audience does not necessitate watered down, dumbed down conflict resolution. If you can't tell, I'm just a big Gravity Falls fan. I even wrote a paper on it. It's just good storytelling. Where Gravity Falls solves conflict via character development, MLP solves conflict via literal magic. Because we're friends, magic will solve the problem. Look, I get that friendship is literally magic here, but that doesn't mean screaming, "Friends!" at all your problems should be the solution. If people deal with similar issues in real life, your proposed solutions do not work, Hasbro. I knew from the get-go that the show was given the green flag so that they could sell more toys. But that shouldn't mean that the story has to suffer. It shouldn't. I see no reason why it should. Yet for some reason, every shred of slightly more real problems that are peeked at are then promptly forgotten. Now I'll be honest, I've been out of the loop of the latest MLP stuff for a while now, so if I'm missing something, let me know in the comments. Or if you'd like to give me some unhealthy validation by telling me how right I am, go ahead and do that too. Anyway, I've made a lot of goofy theories on this YouTube channel, and it was so easy to do so, because the show just has so many plot holes. And when it's not plot holes, it's animation errors. And when it's not animation errors, it's an open door to a deeper story that was never traversed, and never will be. Gravity Falls spent their entire first season establishing the world, the conflict, hinting at creepy undertones, building potential. I'll call this their stage of anticipation. Then the second season hit and boom. All these hints were not one-off gags, they're real parts of the created universe now. They're stories that are being explored. It's a bigger overarching plot we never knew was there. MLP spends every season stuck in the stage of anticipation. There's no follow-up, ever. Oh, Tyrek was cool. It felt like that was gearing up to be a big follow-up. It even had some flashy fireworks and crap. There was some freaky stuff happening. But then Deus Ex Friendship solved the problem again. Then no one learned anything. Once again, Baddie McBad Guy was put right back in the same cage he was in the beginning. The closest we ever got was episodes like Canterlot Wedding. It was my favorite because it felt like there was a shift. Our godlike character isn't God. There's changelings. Our cute little characters could be parasites in disguise. It's interesting. Sure, there was another Deus Ex Machina in the form of love rather than friendship, but I thought it might be a sign that there was a new direction incoming. There wasn't. MLP is perpetually stuck in this stage of anticipation, then hits an episode with a premise perfect for shifting into a new direction, and it just returns to that same stage of anticipation. At one point I decided I might try to catch up a little bit, watch some new episodes, watch the movie, see if anything changed since I stopped watching. It hadn't. In fact, after the movie, I was fed up a little bit. The art style was great, I even loved a song or two from it, but the story was demonstrative of exactly how little the writers care about consistency or substance, right down to the premise. This girl shows up and kicks paralyzing projectiles at these people, and that's what topples the kingdom? You got Deus Ex Friendship, Deus Ex Love, the power of teleportation, the power to fly over 700 miles an hour, the power to catch projectiles with magic shields, magic beams of energy that might be used to intercept projectiles. An army, a domesticated god of chaos, the power to magically hold people in place. And that's not even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to powers and abilities I can scrounge up from little hints and visual gags and stuff like that. There's no reason any of this should have ever even begun to be a threat. Except for the fact that the writers don't care about consistency, or a convincing conflict for the only real movie they're probably ever gonna get the chance to write with these characters. Not to mention that before the baddies even show up, guess who's rehashing problems they've dealt with dozens of times before already? None other than our OP protagonist ascended into monarchy herself. And the whole problem was solved because our stupid antagonist realized that the bigger baddie was using her. So she didn't actually change, she just got angry at the character even more shallow than her. And you know what? This staff holds the magic of all the princesses? Why isn't he flying around like Goku then? T-Rex fight was more intense than this. I just can't take a single conflict in this show semi-seriously. At this point, they've established so many powers and abilities at their disposal that any real threat shouldn't be a threat at all. The only real convincing conflicts come from interesting character dynamics, and they're never gonna touch any of that, 'cause it's a kid show. Even Steven Universe, in all its cringy moments and inconsistent animation, knows what it means to develop characters. I don't want to see Star Swirl introduced as a shallow, historically inconsistent one-off character. I mean, come on, you're gonna tell me the one who taught God everything she knows is just an arrogant old crank who doesn't listen very well? I don't want the monarchy to be toppled for the 12th time only to be solved via Deus Ex Machina. I want to see real growth. Take Discord, for example. I want to see him taken seriously as a character. I want to know why Discord was so willing to destroy the world. I don't know if certain people held a grudge for being imprisoned on the moon for a millennia. I want to know if Spike ever gets tired of others' childish crap. SpongeBob is a great example of a comedic slice of life show that isn't meant to be taken seriously, and it does that well. But one of the major problems with this show is that they can't decide if they want to be a childish show that isn't meant to be taken seriously, each episode independent of one another, or if they want to actually delve deep into a world and a story worth telling. If they choose one or the other, it would skyrocket in quality, but they will not choose. And it doesn't make any sense. They might sell toys for little children, but they know at this point that the majority of their fans, and therefore the majority of the people they are selling to, are not children. So why not branch out? Teen Titans was a kids show that had incredibly serious moments. Avatar: The Last Airbender. They were clearly kids shows, but they were good. From a business perspective, I can't see a single reason why they wouldn't want to cash in on their actual demographics. No reason, except for apathy and obliviousness. So it was a good run. It was fun, it was interesting, but I've lost interest. Completely. If I'm being honest, I'm seeing comments now asking me about my opinion on characters I don't even know exist. I'm that out of the loop at this point. Maliminous made a good video in July talking about another perspective on why the show kinda sucks now. You should go watch that too if you're interested. Also, I heard that season 9 might be the end. Not sure about the validity of that, but it makes sense. Show's dead, or at least my interest in it sure is. But here's the deal. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe because I very well may continue making videos like this on different topics. Different shows, different mediums, who knows? Or better yet, go to my main channel and subscribe there. It's far less popular than this channel, but I actually still consistently post there. So, yeah, it'd be cool if you went over there. Go do that. A lot of cool stuff. Okay, bye.